Ben Gurion Airport will probably be your first stop in Israel. If you are coming to Israel, this is probably where you will start your trip. And in this video, I will talk about everything you need to know about the security, transportation, and all the small things that can make a big difference. I will start with a big misconception that many people have. Ben Gurion Airport is not in Tel Aviv, although the airport code is TLV, which stands for Tel Aviv. Ben Gurion Airport is in the middle of Israel. It's about 30 kilometers to Tel Aviv, it's about 20 miles, and 55 kilometers to Jerusalem, so about 35 miles. So you don't have to start your trip in Tel Aviv, you can start at Jerusalem. And by the way, Israel is tiny. If you're from the US, then Israel is the size of New Jersey. If you're from Germany, Israel is the size of Hessen. If you're from Great Britain, Israel is the size of Wales. So you can also land in Natbag and go south to the desert. It will take you an hour and a half, or to the Galilee, to the north, it will take you 2 hours. In English, many people call the airport TLV, Tel Aviv Airport, but in Hebrew we call it Natbag, which stands for Ben Gurion Airport. Ben Gurion was our first prime minister. Now, Ben Gurion Airport is the main airport in Israel. And I will add that if you say to Israelis Tel Aviv Airport, they might think you mean Sde Dov. Sde Dov is a small airport in Tel Aviv, and it is for domestic flights, especially to Eilat. If you fly in one of the Israeli companies, so El Al, UP, Arkia, and Israel, you will go through security in the airport you are flying from. It's basically a couple of minutes talk with security personnel. They ask you general questions about your trip. Where will you stay? What will you do in Israel? I can understand why people find it strange that somebody asks them personal questions about their trip, but this is how it is. They ask basically all the people the same questions, so it's not that they suspect you. We Israelis are very used to it. Just answer the questions, and it's really not that big of a deal. I will say that if you fly to Israel to visit friends, family, or business, then it is always good to have the details of the people that you are visiting, have like their official name and phone number, and it usually saves a little bit of time. But again, even if you don't know anyone in Israel, it's still no problem. Now, some people do complain about the security, that the questions are too personal. And now I will say something that is a little bit off topic. The Israelis are very, very direct, and I think that the Israelis see politeness as something cold, and they ask very, very direct, and Israelis will always tell you what they think, sometimes not so politely. I like it. I like when people say what they think. Sometimes I think that in Israel there is no distance between what the Israelis think and what come out of their mouth. It's like they think it, they say it. Sometimes it is annoying that people tell you what they think about you and your lifestyle, even if you don't want to hear it. Once you will land, you will go through the border inspection. Now, if there is a queue, don't worry, you can always use the free Wi-Fi in Ben Gurion Airport. And by the way, I will say that Israel is the country with the most free open Wi-Fi in the world. Every cafe, restaurant, hotel, even the municipalities, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, there is free Wi-Fi almost anywhere. Once you get to the border control, then your passport will not be stamped, and this is because some Muslim countries will do problems if they will see that you visited Israel. So you will get something like this paper, and just remember, it's very important, you need to save it in your passport until you fly back, and then afterwards, if you visit Muslim countries, they will not know that you visited Israel. After the border inspection, you will go to the hall where you pick up your luggage. Now, most people go immediately to take their luggage. But as you go into this hall, there is a very good information desk that people don't know about it and don't use it, but it is great. In this information desk, you can get free maps of basically Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and a free map of all of Israel, and for free. And they can mark where your hotel is or your hostel, and it is really helpful. And most people don't use it. They just go straight and take their luggage and go out. And of course, once you go out, you cannot go back in. Once you take the free maps and your luggage, you go out to the welcome hall. It can be a little bit overwhelming. It's a big place, and there you will find all the services you will expect: bank, ATMs, and by the way, the Israelis, more like the American system, use a lot credit cards. So if you have one, do bring one. I know many young Europeans don't have credit card, but it is really helpful in Israel. You will find there the car rental companies and expensive cafe. The next subject is transportation, and here also there are a couple of things that I will say that you won't find information about them in English, because some of them are really new. First of all, of course, you can always hire a car in the airport and just go. I like to say that the Israelis drive more like the Italians and not like the Germans, but I usually recommend to people that come to Israel first to go to Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, see these cities, and after 2-3 days in Jerusalem, only then hire a car. But again, you can hire a car from the airport. All the big companies that you know are there, and down below I will leave a link to all the companies that you can find. Now, about public transportation, the most important thing you need to remember is that in Israel there is no public transportation from Friday afternoon till Saturday night. It is something that is very important and many tourists forget it. So no trains and no buses from Friday, usually 2 hours before sunset, till Saturday, usually 3 hours after sunset, so sometimes it is really late at night, but there are always taxis. But again, the taxis are more expensive on the weekend. If you want to get to Tel Aviv, you can always take the train. There are 2 trains every hour, and at night only once every hour. And down here below I will leave the link to the internet site of the Israeli Railways. The important thing you need to know is that the first station in Tel Aviv, there are 4 stations. The first station, Tel Aviv Hagana, is very close to the central bus station in Tel Aviv, but it is not a good area. It is in the south of Tel Aviv. I don't recommend going there, at least not at your first day. And most of the hotels, hostels, the city center is at HaShalom, which is the next station, or Savidor Merkaz, Savidor Center, which is the one station after HaShalom. So if you do take a train to Tel Aviv, then again, HaShalom or Savidor Center. If you want to get to Jerusalem, there are a couple of options. First of all, there is a bus number 485 that leaves every hour from the airport to the central bus station in Jerusalem, which is in a good location, and over there you also have the light rail in Jerusalem, so it's a good place to start. Now, in a couple of months, I don't know when, and probably nobody in Israel knows when, there will be a train to Jerusalem. So this would have been the best option. It would take only 20 minutes from the airport to Jerusalem. I will just say that there is a line to Jerusalem, but it is not to the city center, and it does a really huge detour. So if you look at the internet site and you see Jerusalem Malcha or Jerusalem Zoo, don't take this train, and you will see it's like 1 hour and 45 minutes to get there. At the end of 2018, this new train line should be open, and then it would be the best option to get to Jerusalem. There is another company that runs a service of Sharut Taxi. Sharut Taxi is basically a 10-seater taxi, and once they get full, they go to Jerusalem and they will drop you off at your hostel or hotel. It costs 60 shekels, something like that. I don't really like this company. I heard a lot of complaints from tourists that the drivers couldn't speak good English and that they were not really nice. But again, the service is okay. They will take you from the airport to the doorstep of your hostel or hotel, and 60 shekel is fair. It's like 15 euros or so. If you are thinking to take a taxi to Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, I have good news for you. The prices just went down in 30%, something that doesn't happen often in Israel, that the prices go down. But they did there something new, and the prices went down, and there are two options. You can or take the taxis, the official taxis of the airport, or you can use an app called Get, and again I will leave all the links down here below. To Tel Aviv it should be around 90 shekels daytime, and to Jerusalem 170 shekel daytime, and nighttime a little bit more. Now there is also the official calculator that tells you how much should the taxi cost, and I will leave the link down here below. People don't use it, and it is great because then you know what you are about to pay. Now, after you've seen everything Israel has to offer, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, the Negev, the Golan Heights, the Galilee, then you will probably leave also from Ben Gurion Airport. And here there is something that is important to know. Most flights are from Terminal 3, but there is also Terminal 1, usually for low-cost flights to Europe, but always check. By the way, if you fly from Terminal 1 and you got accidentally to Terminal 3, then no worries, there is a free shuttle. But again, it's always better to know where you are flying from. And I would say come to the airport 2.5 hours before the flight, especially if it is on a weekend, on Thursday or Friday. And that's it, your trip in Israel is over. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions about the airport, about Israel, then please write all the questions down here below. And if you want to support me, then you can always buy my booklets. I've written 3 booklets about Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and the Judean desert, and they are in German or in English, and you can download them as ebook or buy the hard copy. That's it. See you in the next video, and bye for now.